Sandra Pollock at OBE. Like many people, I have listened to and read many of the comments that have been made with regard to the report come out just last week from the Commission on Race and Ethnic Disparity here in the UK. At first, I must admit, I thought it must be a pre-April Fool's Day spoof. Not that institutional racism is something to joke about, but my mind was just really trying to come to terms with what was being said with regard to the Commission's findings and the report itself. So I'm thinking, okay, so where's the real report? Then, on registering that this is the real report, I, like many other people, black, white, was left in shock. And I still am. It's taken me many days to even put together the thoughts that I'm sharing with you here. I'm hugely disappointed, to say the least, at the findings of the Commission and its report. No, I have not read it myself. And yes, my responses are based on the feedback and the responses made by large numbers of highly knowledgeable and highly respected individuals across all sectors, really. Some of those I've noted in my social media shares and that sort of thing. And it is from these that I draw my own response and conclusions. The findings of this report certainly do not mirror my experience here in the UK. And I was born here, as were many other black and brown people, my peers. Struggling to find words is how I still find myself. How do I respond as a black person to this brazen, blatant response from the establishment, from the government, in the face of all the historical evidence, the recent national and global, responses to the killing of George Floyd in the in the US, apologies. My thoughts were going to the many of people who have died here in the UK and have not had the global outcry that they and their families rightly deserve. So, struggling to find words. Struggling to find words that this report sees fit to totally ignore slavery and the consequences, the continual consequences of the impact of slavery on people of black and brown skins here in the UK. How do I respond to this as a black person? Where do I start? And where does this nonsense end? Clearly, there is no place for truth in the Commission's idea of how things are and how things have been, and that the establishment, our government, has accepted this is again beyond me. Saying, that the sun is not shining because it's a cloudy day doesn't mean that the sun isn't shining. This report demonstrates strongly what it's like to be a black person living here in the UK. This is a cloudy day for the UK, for the voices and the experiences of black people. To pretend or to have the pretense that truth is not important is what we're seeing here. Keeping up appearances, someone else's ideas of what the appearance is a much easier option. Their hope that this report would provide because it's come from the government, denying the fact of institutional racism will make it all go away. It's not something that is really going to happen. It will all be here as it has been for centuries. The treatment of Black people that Black people receive. I'm encouraged, though, by the number of white people, colleagues, supporters, allies who continue, and I know will continue, to join in speaking out against this outrage, against this report and its nonsense findings. I see this report findings, even as it shocks me, as clarity for those who truly want to know what the experience of Black people is like living day to day here in the UK. This is our experience. This has been our experience. Our voices unheard and ignored. Our experiences nullified. Our powers stolen and eroded. And when, even in spite of our experiences, we rise, we thrive, we excel, our achievements are used against us to say that we must not have had any difficulty. We know that Stockholm Syndrome is a thing. So I hold nothing against those Black people who were part of this commission and failed to see the truth of their own experiences and those of their fellows. However, we continue to speak the truth of our experiences. I think David Laming summed up the intention of this report really well, perfectly actually. He concluded that the report continues to divide us and gets us to focus on talking about the report itself and not on the need to do anything, or not on the fact that nothing is being done to improve and to acknowledge and to change the fact of institutional racism. There are many others out there more knowledgeable and far more eloquent and experienced in responding to this report than I. And I will continue to share their posts, their articles, their writings in my social media feeds. For this shameless government to consider itself an example to the world on racism goes beyond words. I'm again speechless at this statement. Clearly, this demonstrates how out of touch with reality our current leaders are to have sanctioned this report. If our leaders cannot see themselves to finding the truth, I hope that we the people will. Let us continue to stand shoulder to shoulder against injustice, inequality, and inhumanity. There are times when leadership needs to come from the ranks. We are in such a time. It is only together that truth will rise, and we will continue to rise. Thank you for listening, and I hope that in this that you find some inspiration to look up and beyond this travesty of a report. Thank you. I'm Sandra Pollock.